wheels keep right on a turning, and so too does the racing news. Say a good Saturday morning to you, and welcome to Cocopah Speedway's Laptime Live. Laptime Live brought to you by Cocopah Casino Racing Radio, here on Outlaw Country AM 1400. As always, I'm your host, Mike Stanhope, and thank you for joining us today. Hey, we're going to be visiting a little later on with Imperial's Lance Murray, driver of the number 19 SB IMCA Modified. As we entered the summer break, Murray sat second in the IMCA Modified points at Cocopah Speedway, and when racing resumes in September, he'll be gunning to try and retake the top spot, part of a three-way dogfight at the top of the IMCA Modified standings. Murray, just back from a trip up north for competition in the Dakota Classic Modified Tour. We'll be hearing about that experience as well. Murray got in one final race, Benton, Iowa, last Sunday, making it to the B feature on night number 1 of the Hawkeye Speed Weeks Tour before making the trek back to the desert. Again, that conversation with Lance coming up in just a few. First, though, on the road action for Cocopah Speedway Racing Series regulars as the summer break continues locally. Several drivers planning on hitting the road for race action this weekend. Among them, Tommy Daffern and Cody Daffern from Brawley. Tommy looking to compete at Verona outside of San Diego in the Superstock division, where he ran a couple of weeks ago based on the tire rules and managed a 4th place finish. A couple of adjustments to his number 81 street stock, including a carburetor change. Tommy again set to take on the Superstocks, while Cody, meanwhile, steps from behind the wheel of his IMCA Sport Mod and is set to get behind the wheel of the Daffern's number 18 IMCA Hobby Stock for a run in the streets at Verona. Again, that action anticipated tonight. And here in state, several drivers reported to be headed for Casa Grande to see action tonight over at Central Arizona Speedway. Among them, Maury and his 19 SB IMCA Modified, as well as Yuma's Ty Rogers and his 8T IMCA Modified. One other road warrior of note, Brawley's Jason Higginbottom, making the tow up to Pahrump, Nevada for action there as well in the IMCA Modifieds. Well, as we've talked about recently here on Laptime Live, some action as well off of the racetrack involving drivers, both in the chase for points now, as well as some new names to look for in the second half of the season. Yuma's Harvey Quinn picking up a new car out of the Phoenix area this past week, now in the process of getting it prepped for action in the RV World IMCA Hobby Stock division, aiming to see his first action on September 26th. Also, the number 74 street stock previously fielded by Yuma's Sean Hoskins has been picked up by Yuma's Robert Williams, a former crew member for the number 6 of Yuma's Dave Amos. Word is Williams also prepping up for a 2014 second half run in the Fisher Automotive Street Stock division. A new engine currently being prepped for that car. Also word of a couple of new cars under construction for at least 2 other competitors at Cocopah Speedway. One currently running in the Napa Auto Parts IMCA Hobby Stocks. The other, a former champion who so far has seen only limited action during 2014. And, of course, as we remain on break at Cocopah Speedway, well, plenty are the opportunities for the stars of the Cocopah Speedway Racing Series to get on the road, find track action wherever they can, and as the break continues, we'll continue to keep an eye on who's doing what where, looking ahead to the resumption of the 2014 season here in late September. Well, up next here on Laptime Live, we visit with Imperial's Lance Murray, driver of the number 19 SB IMCA Modified. Lance back from the Dakota Classic Modified Tour, but on the road again today for action over at Casa Grande, and he is set to join us next here on Racing Radio, Cocopah Speedway's Laptime Live, presented by Cocopah Casino, and we'll be back with more in just a moment.
Food City announces an incredible 3-day sale now through Sunday.
Bananas, 3 pounds for just 99 cents. 73% lean ground beef, just $2.29 a pound. In the value pack, Food City vegetable oil, 32 ounce, just $1.49. Food Club mayonnaise, 30 ounce jar, just $1.88. Pork carnitas, $4.99 a pound in the Dos Ranchitos kitchen. And Food City flour tortillas, just $1.99 in the 24 count package.
Thank you for shopping at Food City, the store with low prices when you need them.
Outlaw Country streaming live. Just visit us on the web at outlawcountry1400.com and click on the Listen Live button. It's easy. You'll find DJs' bios, photos, and you can also get the latest Yuma news from Jennifer Blackwell and entertainment news, too. We also have fun contests. Check us out today. That's outlawcountry1400.com. Streaming live anywhere you have internet access and speakers. Classic country, your country.
Outlaw Country. You can't always see it, but energy is changing. So what's next for Arizona? Next is new choices for the way you use energy through innovations like plug-in electric vehicles, smart appliances, and rooftop solar. At APS, our job is to plan for these possibilities with a smarter electricity grid that can safely and reliably power whatever you plug in next. The future of energy is bright. Learn more at aps.com/next.
Need to order stickers? SignPro can produce custom stickers with your logo or business information. Give them to your customers or label your equipment for a great professional look. That's SignPro, 783-7776, or stop by 1702 South Arizona Avenue. SignPro, where they are perfect to the letter.
The Yuma Stroke Support Group meets the third Thursday of each month. Meetings are held from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at the Yuma Rehabilitation Hospital Gym, 901 West 24th Street. There's no charge to attend the Stroke Support Group. A stroke is a life-changing experience, and not just for the stroke survivor. The meetings are open to stroke survivors, their family members, caregivers, and friends. At the meetings, you will gain support, education, and encouragement from others who know just what you're going through. For more information, please call 726-5000. That's 726-5000.
Check it. It's your vote. The primary election is August 26th. Have you checked it? Have you moved recently? Have you changed your name? Make sure voter registration has your current information. YumaCountyAZ.gov will fix that. It only takes 60 seconds to check it. Let YumaCountyAZ.gov help you help yourself. Just 3 simple steps at YumaCountyAZ.gov. That's all it takes. You can check it at YumaCountyAZ.gov in 60 seconds. Anytime, 24 hours a day. You don't have to wait to check it until you get to your PC at home. Check It is available on your mobile device at YumaCountyAZ.gov. Be confident that you're prepared to vote on August 26th. Just check it now at YumaCountyAZ.gov. It's your vote. The primary election is August 26th. Have you checked it?
Welcome back to Cocopah Speedway's Laptime Live. Laptime Live brought to you by Cocopah Casino. Once again, I'm your host, Mike Stanhope. Thank you for making us a part of your Saturday. And joining us on the phone right now, it's Imperial's Lance Maury, driver of the number 19 SB IMCA Modified, just back from some 2 weeks on the road for the Dakota Modified Tour and some other racing as well. And as it turns out, back on the road today. Good morning to you, Lance.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Hey, having a good morning, Lance. And, hey, you've done lots of traveling these past couple of weeks. More today as you're anticipating a run over at Central Arizona.
Yeah, I was expecting to go over there, just kind of get everything back dialed in, so to speak. Run some of the stuff that we learned when we were going.
Well, hey, what's the attraction of so much racing in such a compressed period of time? Because that was a busy 2 weeks for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for anyone, I believe. When we first showed up, they ran it in Estevan the day before the tour started, and I think we started 13th, 14th, and it was the regular points race, but it was a 1,200 to win or something like that, and we got up to 5th or 6th real quick, and then I broke a brake line, and I opted to just pull off and sit in my car for the tour, but when you start the tour, you always try to make sure everything's fresh, everything's ready to go, driver's fresh and everything. Because, I mean, it is 6 days straight, and you run about, on the road, maybe 2.5 hours in between each track, and it's usually a pretty good help, so that you may only get 3 or 4 hours of sleep usually, but it's real good for anyone, I think, to run like that, because if you have one bad day, then the next day is just around the corner instead of, waiting a week or 2 or 3 weeks to run. I wouldn't be opposed to running, week in and week out around here locally. It's just, it does a lot of good for the driver, the racing program, technology to put back in the car while it's still fresh in your head. A lot of people don't really see, I think, or think about, like, what you actually think about when you get out of the car, and then you try to apply it. You start thinking, well, was it this I was thinking about, or that, or even how to drive the dang thing. And sometimes people even forget how to do that. So it's good. I think it doesn't give you time to really be lazy about things. You really bump your maintenance up in your car, even though you take everything apart and put it back together. You still don't really think about like the Lucas Oil guys, USNTS guys, what they go through day in and day out. And everyone wonders why when they show up they just lightly quit every time. It's because their maintenance program and just their the way that they want to do things and the way that they do things. It's just, you can't be wrong when you're on the road like that. You got to be right all the time.
Out of 120 cars that scored points in the modified series, you wound up 32nd. That puts you squarely in the top third of cars that competed from throughout the country. You have to feel good about a result like that.
Yeah, we only ended up making it into 2A's. We had an open motor in the first two races, which were the two that we made it in. And we were running good with it. And then we decided to change it back over to the crate, and just really couldn't, kind of throwing the quicksand, so to speak, really couldn't quite get our legs underneath us from there. Had some fourth row heat race tilt drives, which that really isn't a excuse of anything, really, to be honest. I mean, when you're right, you're right. When you're wrong, you're wrong. When we came back home, we just tore my car apart probably 3 days ago and figured out a bunch of things that I had wrong. And sometimes you just don't, sometimes you just don't got it right. Sometimes you do. So, but we learned a lot about the car that we're running, and I'm still pretty happy. I'm real thankful for all the sponsors, my family, my wife, my kids, my parents, everyone that's helped me, go back there and do this thing. It's not cheap to do it by any means. It's not easy, but like I said, at least I come back with a pretty big wealth of knowledge that I can share with all my MRT guys.
Always lessons to be learned for sure. And just coming back a little bit to something you just said, what's the hardest parts of making a tour like that?
Driving back isn't too hard, obviously. You're just driving down the road. But to make it in a tour, like a lot of people don't really think about it on like a regular weekly racer. Heck, even the Super Nationals, the Winter Nationals for that case, when the winner of the heat race is the only one that leads to go to the A, you may be sitting front row in the B if you finish second, but you never know who's behind you that may just go by and smoke you, and you might end up fifth. So, when, stagger, bite, anything that has to do with the wheel offset, how good your tires are. All those things come into a big old set of conglomeration that if one thing's off by more than 15%, you may go from last to third, but you're third. You didn't win the heat race, so you're not making it in, and you don't get the draw for the front row. And so, we drew for the first race in my mountain, and I drew, I think it was second row inside, I believe, or third row inside. And, I figured that was pretty decent, and instead of jumped to green, I just went for it and slid up, and I knew after the first corner I probably didn't have the car that was going to win the race, but I was going to do everything I could to stay up there. And we faded back pretty far. We just had a really, really free car, but, it's still one of those things where you can't just kind of lay back. You're racing with people that usually are making it into the show the first or second day in the Super Nationals or the Duel in the Desert, so you don't really need to worry about it like a local race where, I got to take a lap and figure things out and take time. You got to go for it. You just got to be fast right out of the box.
On it at all times. Well, we asked about hardest part. What's the funnest part of a tour like that?
Meeting people, to be honest with you. I've met so many neat people up there in North Dakota and Canada. Aaron Turnbull, Hot Rod Elvis, John Span, Jeff Taylor, he's always fun to be around. You meet and see so many other people that you don't ever really think about it until you get back. But sometimes you may end up hanging out or having a beer with someone that you don't even know who their name is, but then all of a sudden you read a magazine and you see who they are. And meeting people like that is a really cool deal. And mean, everyone exchanges knowledge. I mean, that's just the way it is. But when you're back there, just seeing people and talking to them, and that's about the coolest thing, I think, just being able to hang out with everyone. Because when you're on the road, you're pretty much like a traveling family for 6 days straight.
The family and friends part of thing, always one of the things we enjoy most about the whole racing experience. What differences would you note from racing up in that part of the country as opposed to, say, racing out here in the desert?
One thing that is kind of different and neat up there, I gotta say, is that normally granted, we're up there for the tour. The tour is usually to try and make the track the actual, best possible throughout the year, but when you go out there, you really don't mud pack, and when you go out for hot laps, it's already dry. So, I mean, you can really, really learn a lot about your car versus, like, sometimes when you're hot lapping down here, it's muddy or it's real fast, and you're thinking, okay, my stuff's great. I'm, turning a 19 or whatever second lap, and then you're kind of looking at the pace just fall off, and you start thinking, well, what exactly do I need to change to keep the pace up? Whereas over there, you may start off running 20s and then end up running a 20.5 or a 20.8 or whatever. It doesn't fall off by seconds. It just falls off by 10. So it's kind of the neat thing up there. And the tracks are really high banked. I mean, there's not really one that's super flat, to be honest. It's kind of hard to really tell over, like, watching on YouTube, but like I was doing, for instance, like when you go over there and you stand at the top of the track, you're just like, wow, it looks like you're going to fall over. But, the tracks are a lot different. I mean, they run the show pretty quick. They try and run the show as clean as possible. And, I mean, like down here, I think anybody from, our region over here in the desert Southwest can learn from, watching those people for prepping the track, the way they run it. And, I mean, to run down here, we do have a pretty good amount of tracks that are all, here in this general area. But over there, they run Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, you could get 3 days in a week. It would be neat to see that happen over here. I know that, no one wants to be the Sunday or the Friday, but it would still be neat because I bet you if they would just kind of do it, they'd actually notice that they'd have 30 cars going from track to track to track.
Yeah, an awesome sight to see, and maybe things will line up in the future where we see more of that out here. We're visiting with Lance Murray, driver of the number 19 SB IMCA Modified, just back from the Dakota Classic Modified Tour. Going to talk about the season's second half coming up with Lance here in just a moment as we continue on Cocopah Speedway's Laptime Live, brought to you by Cocopah Casino.
Daddy, when are you coming home?
It can be difficult being a service member called for duty. That's why there's the Yellow Ribbon Reintegration Program. We help thousands of National Guard and Reserve members ensure their families are taken care of while they're away.
Daddy, you're home.
And when they return, we help with everything from job opportunities to financial planning. Learn more at yellowribbon.mil. A message from the Department of Defense.
You can't always see it, but energy is changing. So what's next for Arizona? Next is new choices for the way you use energy through innovations like plug-in electric vehicles, smart appliances, and rooftop solar. At APS, our job is to plan for these possibilities with a smarter electricity grid that can safely and reliably power whatever you plug in next. The future of energy is bright. Learn more at aps.com/next.
My people, today I call upon you to stand up to wireless companies, to stand up with me against contracts and so-called unlimited plans that have data caps. Join me, and we will flash our phones so that we can keep them. Today, we declare our freedom.
Rise up for freedom with Clear Talk Wireless. 4 lines of truly unlimited everything for just $25 a month per line on our nationwide network.
Clear Talk. More value. More freedom.
Ready to achieve your college degree and advance your career? Attend Grand Canyon University. Founded in 1949, GCU is Arizona's premier private Christian university. Our expanding campus in the heart of Phoenix helps students find their purpose by applying Christian values to their education. GCU's diverse and challenging programs develop students into critical thinkers, effective communicators, and responsible leaders. We also offer a rich campus experience. Our 100-acre Phoenix campus includes a brand new recreation center, a 5,000-seat arena, a resort-style swimming pool, and 3 new residence halls. For working professionals, GCU offers flexible evening and online courses that work with your schedule while allowing close communication with instructors. A quality education is just the beginning of our value. In fact, GCU is now as affordable as many state universities. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Pursue your degree on campus, online, or in the evening. Schedule a campus tour today. Visit gcu.edu.
Politicians make promises. Leaders get results. I'm Mayor Scott Smith. Like you, I'm sick of politicians' promises. One candidate for governor says he'll fix illegal immigration by having our state use satellites. And some say they'll eliminate Arizona's income tax. But they don't tell you this could devastate our schools and actually end up raising your taxes. There's a word for promises like that. Bull. As mayor, I got results. Our city dealt with illegal immigration. We enforced the law. We made Mesa into one of America's safest big cities. Confronted with a $62 million budget hole, I cut spending, balanced our budget, and slashed bureaucracy. And when Arizona faced Medicaid cuts, I stood with Governor Brewer. We kept our rural hospitals open and protected our veterans. As mayor, I built a record of results. As Arizona's next governor, I'll do the same. Vote for me, Scott Smith.
Scott Smith. Proven leadership. Proven results.
Paid for by Smith for Governor 2014.
You're listening to Racing Radio. It's Cocopah Speedway's Laptime Live, presented by Cocopah Casino. And we are joined once again on the phone this morning by Imperial's Lance Murray, driver of the number 19 SB IMCA Modified. And Lance, want to turn attention now to the 2014 season at Cocopah Speedway. You're sitting second in the standings. And how would you assess your season to date?
Good and bad. Kind of like hot and cold water. We came out really fast, winning races, doing well. Last couple times we've been out there, we've had, I think, top 5 finishes. Can't quite recall all of them, but we had, I think, 3 DNFs in a row. That didn't help anything, obviously. Just trying to be consistent with finishing. And those 3 DNFs kind of came from. I was involved with it. I guess I should have just been faster and just flew by him and not gotten into a wreck, but I ended up in a wreck. But it is what it is. There's no excuses in racing. There's just results. We really are trying hard to be, always up front, always winning. It's easy and it's not easy, I guess. It's easy to get sidetracked when you just kind of stay, focused on one thing and you don't broaden your horizons. You don't, think about, new ways to be fast, because when you go to these other big shows, a lot of those guys don't really run for points. They usually just run for wins. So when you show up, they sometimes might be a 0 one day, and then the next day you can't even catch them, even if you had an airplane. So, it's the battle. It just is what it is. But, down in Yuma, I think everyone's really stepped up quite a bit from, I think, the Winter Nationals, and that's, of course, great, because, we don't want to be just out there running against 1 or 2 cars and, just kind of, farting around. It's really important, I think, to run against good competition. And, I can pretty much vouch for, the last 3 or 4 winners. Bobby's won, I believe, twice already. Russell's won the last one. Ty got his first win. And they weren't, just like, we had a rain delay caution and, we just ended up there. No, they drove up there and won. So you could tell that everybody's really, getting a lot better, stepping up their game. So it's good to see. I think obviously we're going to be a whole lot better with this new car when we get back from running the tour and everything like that. But, most of what I can attest to is just running at Yuma is pretty important to me, because I know for about 2 or 3 years we were running 3-4 hours away to get to the track, so now we're only an hour away. So I know sometimes on the track's a little too dusty or kind of rough or one lane. I know people kind of get, hooting and hollering and get all upset about it. I try to do my best not to say anything that may jeopardize someone just pulling the plug and saying to heck with it, I don't even want to do it anymore, because I can tell you, running 3 or 4 hours to run locally, we used to do that, run 60 shows a year, and it's quite a bit of money and fuel to do that. So I'm pretty damn proud to say that I run at Yuma locally. So the tracks up there, like the Laptime live thing that you do, I don't really see that happening a whole lot of other places. So it's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited to get back there, but obviously, I still want to go run other places throughout the summer. Probably going to hit Canyon up next week, and just run probably 3 or 4 more times before we get back there, just to make sure the knife's sharp.
Well, hey, we wish you best of luck this evening over at Casa Grande, and, of course, on the 2014 season, the remainder of it when we get back underway in September as well. Hey, you had a couple of special helpers along with you on the Dakota Modified Tour. That had to have been some fun as well.
Yeah, Chris House went with me, and Tanner Black, he's Austin Black's brother. They were good help. They were able to, Tanner knows his way around the car. Chris obviously runs one of my sport mods, so neither one of them have ever been up to Canada to run up there, or go and see that. It's pretty much the competition that you're running is really, really tough, and they were able to really see a lot of different things. The way things are done over there, and so it's good for everyone. So I was really happy to have those two with me, so that way make sure we get everything done and put our best foot forward. So.
And that, of course, applies to all of the supporters who make it possible for you to race.
Oh yeah, obviously my parents helped me out a ton. My dad pretty much ran things while I was gone, which helped out a bunch. My mom for doing everything on Facebook and keeping up with that. My wife and my kids for letting me go. I know that they probably would have loved to go, but I know that with that schedule that you keep, running 6 days straight like that, if you're at the same track, it'd probably be okay, but I know running it while trying to feed everybody and do everything like that, and you're traveling 2 hours in between each track, it could be kind of a circus. Schaefer's Oil, Axis Metal Design, he helps me out a ton. MRT, SBS suspensions, we're pretty much doing all our own shocks in the house now, so we're trying to build that up. We got a couple people out there on some of our stuff, and they seem to be pretty happy with it. Everyone that's, believe in our product, running our stuff, running our cars, just trying to make sure we keep everybody up and going and keep them fast. My uncles, Meyer Brothers Incorporated, they helped me out a bunch while I'm up there, giving us a place to stay and shower before we were heading up there. Around Holy Oak the first day. We got rained out the second day, but was able to get filled up with diesel by my uncles. That was a pretty good deal. And pretty much just all the fans that support it, keep up with us. It's pretty cool and pretty important. I quickly learned that I need to get off my lazy butt and get my shirt program up and running, because after this last tour, we sure did get hounded about having shirts, and we didn't have any shirts when it went up there. We had plenty of spare parts for the car, but we didn't have any shirts, so I better get on that and make sure that gets done.
Hey, always have to have those souvenirs. Well, Lance, I want to thank you again for joining us this morning here on Laptime Live, and again, best to you tonight at Casa Grande and for the rest of the 2014 season.
Yeah, thanks a bunch, Mike.
All right, you have a good morning. Lance Maury, out of Imperial, driver of the number 19 SB IMCA Modified, second in the standings in the IMCA Modifieds when we get back to action late September out at Cocopah Speedway. Hey, before we conclude this morning, a couple of other pieces of news to pass along, including a tip of the cap to Tony Stewart making his official return to sprint car racing last night, and it was a victorious one as Smoke took the win at the Sprint on Dirt feature at Tri-City Motor Speedway in Auburn, Michigan. And on the subject of sprint cars. As we noted last Saturday here on Laptime Live, early entries still coming in for the inaugural Winter Heat Sprint Car Showdown in January at Cocopah Speedway. A couple of new names being added to that list just this past week. We'd also like to pass along a thank you this morning to everyone who took time to participate in Cocopah Speedway's recent fan survey, which closed this past Monday. Hundreds of interesting responses were pulled in and generated, and the Speedway team, excited to have received so much good feedback to act upon in the weeks and months ahead. All the parts of building a better experience for both racers and fans alike out at the Diamond in the Desert. Hey, to make sure you're fully up to speed on all of the racing to come later on in the year, as well as the Winter Heat Sprint Car Series, make sure you stop in at www.cocopahspeedway.com. You can find just about everything you'd ever want to know about racing here in Yuma right there on cocopahspeedway.com, that Winter Heat tab, where you, among other things, can get in on advanced purchases online only that provide not only race tickets for the showdown, but also a limited fan pit pass good from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on each showdown event day. Again, that a limited time offer, so make sure to get in on those soon. Details and all of that and more, again, on the Cocopah Speedway website, www.cocopahspeedway.com. Be sure to check back frequently for all of the lowdown on the showdown. Well, summer break may be right in the middle of things, but hey, racing news, it's always on, and we'll be right here to bring it all to you as we get set for more race action over the weekend, and we get set for more racing news next Saturday here on Cocopah Speedway's Laptime Live. Back with more. That's it. Next Saturday morning, 11 a.m. here on Outlaw Country AM 1400.